Haas driver Romain Grosjean is looking at a potential end to his F1 career that many feel promised a lot but never delivered. He has now looked back at what went wrong for him and some of the other drivers in his generation in the In the Pink podcast. I'm your host Dylan Shelley, and first up on Formula World, old men didn't want to leave. Grosjean began by pointing out the group of drivers who suffered like him. When I think about it, the 86-87 generation was perhaps the wrong one to be in. Paul di Resta, Nico Hülkenberg, myself, and perhaps Sebastian Buemi as well. He elaborated on how their timing was wrong. We all came in at a time when the seats on the top teams were occupied and the old men didn't want to leave Formula 1 yet. The youngsters came after it and we never really got our chance. He then elaborated on how the drivers without the right tools cannot be a world champion. Anyway, it's no different. You don't have much control over it. Of course, you always hope to become world champion, but you also discover that without the right tools, you don't stand a chance. He then provided his parting thoughts. I think Formula 1 would be much better if it wasn't dominated by one team. Fast feed. Renault's Daniel Ricciardo has stated that his longevity in the sport will be dictated on how competitive he is. He also questioned if Lewis wasn't in a winning car over the last few years, if he was in P8 or P9, would he still be in the sport? It's questionable. He further added that he wants to be done by 35, but if he's winning at 35 and if he's still got a chance to win, it would be hard not to keep going. He also feels that if you're winning, it's hard to walk away. Rosberg did, but for most of them, it would be hard to walk away while winning. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff feels that if you have a dynamic between two drivers where the talking happens on the track, then you can have two alpha males. 2020 world champion Lewis Hamilton feels that he has managed to improve in qualifying, but he has also improved in the race. That came as a surprise to him. He also feels that many believe that he is just lucky to be in a good car. However, he has to be at the helm to steer this group of smart, determined and creative people in a direction of development so that in the end the car will be in perfect harmony with the driver. Red Bull's Max Verstappen is of the opinion that Portimao was cool, but he hopes that they have a bit more grip if they ever go back there. He also feels that Imola was nice as it was very old school and that he also enjoyed Nürburgring, so there's a few which could replace some Grand Prix they have on the calendar currently. Former F1 driver David Coulthard has added that nobody doubts that Lewis Hamilton is the real deal and that he is not only one of the best drivers of his generation, but one of the best drivers in the history of the sport. Sadi Hesba, the promoter of the Istanbul Park circuit, has confirmed they are now preparing for a race in 2021. Former team principal in F1, Flavio Briatore, has suggested the contrast with the current generation of drivers is huge. A lot has changed since he was involved in Formula 1. He further elaborated that there were many more real personalities with strong fighting mentality in the past. Red Bull team principal Christian Horner feels that the big question then is, can an energy drink produce an engine that can compete with the best in the world? And he answered that by pointing out that they did it with the chassis, so it should also be possible with the engine. Could Red Bull produce a competitive F1 power unit? Head over to my community page to vote in the poll and let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe and check out my others for all the latest in the world of Formula 1.